Welcome to another episode of the Tea and Trails podcast.
Lace up your shoes and make sure you've packed that emergency energy gel. Hopefully your watch has locked into those satellites and get ready for episode 60. This week we chat with Fran Blackett. Fran has set up a female-led navigation course up in the north of England. We have all the usual shenanigans too. Tales from the Trails, Strava, competition, and we have our weekly catch-up.
Big shout out to our Patreon partners who share some awesome discount codes with our Patreons. We have Precision Fuel and Hydration, Vela Forte, Protein Rebel, Dicky Boo, Mountain Fuel, Outdoor Active, Silver Sweden, Active Route, The Centurion Running Store, Sportshoes.com, Big Bubble Hats, X Miles, Fonside Farm Coveters, Yugoku Projects, Red Bear Sports, The Album App, Retainer Group Cycle Protection, Summit Crazy, and Ultra Trail 2. Extra shout out to Precision Fuel and Hydration and Protein Rebel, keeping our joints moving and our limbs functioning. Funny story. We use their products every month to help fuel, hydrate, and recover. If you'd like to save some money, support the podcast and our partners, then please consider joining Patreon. Couldn't do this without you guys. Literally wouldn't be doing this today if we didn't know we had 1 million patrons wanting the podcast on Friday, because let's just say, I've still got my wet pants on. Anyway, pop over to Summit Crazy if you'd like to buy some awesome Tea and Trails merch.
It's been a challenging week. Yeah, thanks to Precision Fuel and Hydration for sponsoring this week's show. And if you are a patron, you can enjoy 15% off, and anybody can enjoy 15% off their first order with the code T24. Super simple, T24.
Funny story, Gary. It's a Precision Fuel. There's a reason for this story. I know it's very strange to actually have a link. But yesterday, so I've got the fizzy tablets, which I use every day, but I save the sachets for racing because they're not fizzy, but I don't have many of those. So I'm saving them for Northern Traverse. So I put the tablets in my bottle, put them in my rucksack. And then if you take a little sip, it like deflates the bottle a little bit. Did that on one, forgot the other one, took a sip. It went like right up my nose. Like, have you ever had spaghetti come out of your nose?
Oh, yeah.
And it came out my nose? Really hard.
It's painful. It really is painful.
Really hard. And I was like, oh. And I'd already got a zip stuck up my nose that morning, taking my top off. And I know, don't ask questions. And then trying to get kids out the door and had this massive nosebleed because I'd ripped my top off and then don't ask. Anyway, don't get Precision Fuel and Hydration out your nose. It's not pleasant.
These are normally kid accents. I remember having lots of things coming up my nose as a kid. I jammed my hand in car doors quite a lot as a child.
The hand in the car door. No, I have had a child who had the whole spaghetti string come out of their nose because they were laughing so much. That's one of my favourites. It's, those family stories that go down in legend. And no one can quite remember what happened and who it was. But we know spaghetti came out of someone's nose. Anyway, I interrupted you. Were you about to tell something incredible, groundbreaking?
Probably not. No, probably not. I just think it's a strange because we're recording on a Thursday, which is very unusual for this.
I
so
know.
We're going to talk about last week, even though most of this week.
I know, but I thought it doesn't matter. We talk about this week too. No, one, we could talk about what we want. It's our podcast. True. And also there's going to be a podcast hiatus next week. And so I could just keep talking. True. And so whatever we say, people will have forgotten. Who's listening anyway? Dad?
Well, do you want the good news or the bad news? Because I think I'm probably going to bring it down a bit. So do you want to go me first, then you can boost us, or is that too much pressure?
No, you go. Yeah, I'll go second because I feel mine's just whining.
Well, mine's not too much of a downer. I constantly wrestling with this realism of I'm not as quick as I want.
Gary, I really wish I could help you not care about this.
Well, yeah, it's something you said actually, basically you just reframe your goal, but then it's like, do I even do Manchester? If that goal isn't there anymore, do I even do it? But then I'm thinking, channeling a bit of my inner Finley from your story last week. It's not good for me, not good
I'm not a quitter. That's Evie.
Not a quicker. And
quitter. Quicker. Don't quit.
It's not good.
Don't quit.
It's not good for my kids to see Dad pull out something. So
right. Just because you think you're not going to as you thought you would. That's not our message, Gary. That's not our message.
Lisa thinks maybe this marathon journey because I've been so trail specific for a few years now, and obviously I'm a senior citizen, that this might be a few years journey. It's not something I can just kind of jump back on and do it again.
But it's something so relatable, because there's such a big difference between early 30-year-olds ourselves and then like between 20 and 30, there's not that much difference. But the big difference comes at like the end of the 30s, and then the decline is like palpable. It's like daily. It's like you're like a different body. And so Lisa's good. That's wise. We should have Lisa's corner. But
Lisa and Bryn's second.
Oh my God, they'd just be like, well, actually, we're not speaking to Eddie and Gary this week because they have been. But and I reckon like loads of people that have perhaps gone through this, Gary, and have come out the other side reframing, and their body's different, and becoming a masters athlete, so different sport. Don't give up, because you're not gonna, it might not be the day that you want, but it might be the day that you need.
Oh, I like that.
Right, sorry. I know you're desperate to read your numbers.
But as usual, it's a super easy Monday. I really appreciate those Mondays. You know, previous years, I would be just using that as a, kind of say it was a rest day, but it wasn't really a rest day. But yeah, just I think a few miles with Rex, backwards and forwards around the village. Did my core, so that's always low-hanging fruit to get that done at home. And then we hit some bigger sessions, 3 times 8 minutes. Can you
stop saying low-hanging fruit? Because you know what I think of when you say that. And you say it every week.
I'm going to say it every week now, now that you say it.
I was like visions of hemorrhoids or something.
Oh, my goodness. I'm thinking of like mango trees.
I know what you are. I know. No, you lie.
But 3 times 8 minutes on the treadmill, actually 15% incline in that heart rate 0.4. And I felt mentally strong for this workout because I reflect back on previous workouts, and 3 times 8 minutes, although early in the year, that would have been quite a big workout. Now it seems very manageable. So I enjoyed that. Yeah. And it's just a little boost that I needed. Thursday, this was an absolute monster. It wasn't my session. Gary, one of the group, another Gary. Oh, it's crazy. We've got 2 Garys in our group. He is training for Edinburgh Marathon, and his session was 4 times 3K at half marathon effort. So in theory, the pace is a bit slow, but 4 times 3K, that's a big session for us. This is why I always have this like little punch of realization that I could not hold that pace for 13 miles, but I enjoyed the graft. But like I said, I reflected, it's just a bit of a blow being slower than I used to be. And then Friday shifted because I had this big super long marathon training specific run on Sunday in the lakes. Which quite a few people called me out on. So I thought what I would do was do a medium long run on Friday, just easy pace. And this is where the whole thing is a puzzle for me, because I've done some steady runs where I'm supposed to be hitting marathon pace, and it's felt really, really hard. But then on this easy run on Friday, some of the miles that I hit, definitely at least one was low 7 minutes, which is my marathon pace for Manchester. So some runs, low 7 minutes seems okay. And other runs where it's supposed to be at marathon pace just feel totally unachievable. It's a real puzzle. And then rolled on to Saturday, and this is where I think it's healthy. I was super anxious, but had the relays on Saturday with Sedgwick Harries, and we were a V50 team. And the luxury of the V50 team is you set off early. So normally I'm waiting around at Hetton relays, being a senior male. We'd be there all day, but the men go off at 12 o'clock and you're done. It's like 14 minutes for me to do 2 and a bit miles. Not as fast as previous years. I think the fastest I've done that is probably about 6 minute mile, and just over 6 minute mile. And I think I was like 6:20 something. So about 20 seconds off the glory days, but not as slow as I feared. So I enjoyed the team.
You need a t-shirt with that on. 20 seconds off the glory years, but not as slow as I fear.
I really felt it since, I think I peaked probably 2019, but
but I think looking at that back with rose-tinted glasses is a dangerous game to play as well, looking at that as your glory years. Perhaps you're a little bit of perhaps you're a little bit different. Perhaps you're a little bit happier now with all this time on the trails. And
I don't think, I love the trails, but currently I'm not enjoying it. I don't know if I'm going to do this again to myself, actually. It's not good. It's not good for Guy, but it was nice. I saw Ali Bailey at the relays, Lakeland 100 2022 champ. I think that's
Was
correct.
it 2022? Gosh, seems only yesterday. He
Andy
just
Berry,
moved house. Do you remember? He just
2023,
moved house
yeah.
and he was showing us his new blind because he was so proud of it.
Yeah. Well, it was great to see Ali running again, actually, because we all know he took a turn
He
for the
did
worse after
himself.
Lakeland 100.
He did himself a diddle on that race, didn't he?
A bumpy and long road to recovery. So it was great to see Ali running again. And then we rolled on to Super Sunday. Big reverse Bob Graham round and some Lakeland 100 trails too. And we did a little section coming off Skiddaw that we'd never done again. So we dropped onto the Lakeland 100 route without any tarmac. Yeah, awesome day. And bit of DOMs on. Not the DOMs I thought I was going to have. Wow, I thought really fearful of what my legs were going to feel like Monday, Tuesday. But I did a few miles with a friend, Aaron. Could have been Monday and Tuesday, actually. Yeah, so DOMs did come up in the conversation, but yeah, not as bad as I expected. So another 80-mile week. This is why I'm like, oh, it's all terrible. It's all a nightmare. I'm so sad. I'm not as fast as I want to be. But yeah, another 80-mile week, 2 quality sessions, a bit of a race, a medium long run, and a big day in the mountains. So yeah, on paper it looks okay, but I'm still not happy. This is what I've always experienced in actually a marathon training block. I feel like there comes a point where I turn a corner, I can reap what I've sown earlier in the year, and I've not hit that. There's never been a standout workout where I feel like I've turned a corner in training. Every week I'm chasing people, which I just wish there was that felt great. I did a workout 4 times 3K at half marathon pace, and I hit those paces, and it didn't feel like, because really 3K at half marathon pace should feel pretty comfortable.
You weren't running at half marathon pace.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Well, I was.
Should I tell you what I think, Gary? I think generally you try and do too much.
Yeah,
You've got 2 big sessions and a race and a massive long run and a medium long run. Anybody looking at that would go, this guy is overtraining. No wonder he's not hitting the paces. He's always tired.
Well, I'm hoping when the taper comes.
Oh, here we
like,
go. And then everybody goes, yeah, but it'll be fine once I taper that week. That'll sort me out. If you train as much as you do, Gary, you're not willing to drop some of the mileage. You're not willing to drop one of the sessions. You're always going to be tired. You're never giving yourself a chance to recover. So every session is going to be your body. You're fighting against legs that are, and you playing the Russian roulette game because you're still managing to do it. Are you doing them to the best of your abilities?
The mileage in between the workouts, I'm definitely pushing hard in the workouts, but the mileage in between the workouts, there's definitely.
And this is what he says, guys. He goes, it's just easy running, Eddie. Yeah.
But it's not all doom and gloom.
No, it's not all doom and gloom. And there are so many positives in that week, Gary. That's amazing. You're amazing. Yes.
If I reflect back, I talked to Lisa about this. She would goodness me. It's boring going
Poor Lisa. Poor Lisa.
So all year, every week I've done at least 2 quality sessions. And maybe once or twice I've missed that 3rd workout. I've always been faithful to the long run. I think last week's long run in the lakes was the only time I've really just completely gone off the plan completely. Every week I've done definitely 2 strength sessions, sometimes 3. So I've hit all the targets, and I'm just hoping, yes, I'm going into everything super tight. The effort on the sessions we've talked about in the past, I'm not actually sure how I'm gauging my effort, so that might be incorrect, but it's hitting the zone 4 according to Garmin. So there's lots of things are positive. Even if Manchester doesn't go to plan, I'm certain it's going to serve me well for Lakeland 100. I do feel in better shape now than I did this time last year. I don't want to put a number out there because that might be super fast for somebody, but if it's not what I hope, then I still think I've served my Lakeland 100 race well.
I say nothing, dear listeners. I say nothing. I just smiling and nodding. Your best friend is one of the best endurance coaches in the country, and you prefer to get your sessions from Garmin than from her.
I know, I'm terrible. I'm just that classic bloke with ego.
We love you. We love you. Don't change. You're perfect. It's just the way you are.
Anyway, yeah, sorry if I've dragged everybody down in the dumps.
No.
But, it's over to Eddie to bring us up.
Oh, God. Flipping out. Right. Okay. I had to... The cogs. We're halfway through half term here, and I've been solo parenting for the last 6 days, and that I lost my shadizzle. proper, if you're a parent, you don't lose it. But when they're younger, I used to lose it at the end of the day quite regularly, but don't lose it much now. But oh my God, yesterday.
I like seeing other people lose it with their kids.
Absolutely lost. Like I had an almost out of body experience because I could not control my rage of the person who was complaining because the pie had got cold that I'd cooked for them there for lunch. Like, oh my God, I just absolutely lost it. And I don't like that. Then I cried when I put them to bed and they'd gone to sleep and I was like, oh my God, I haven't done this for years. Which is what I used to do a lot when they were younger because I hate feeling like you failed. I've been a bad parent.
The guilt.
The guilt. I had to go and kiss them goodnight. I don't actually go into their bedrooms I say goodnight to them, but I don't act when they've gone to sleep now because if I wake them up, they're like, what?
Yeah, what are you doing?
What are you doing? So I just look through their door now. They're older, but I had to go in and kiss them all and go, sorry, I'm terrible. I love you. Of course, then the next day they don't remember and they're lovely, wonderful children. Anyway, so I am deep in the trenches this week. Well, it's Monday. Oh, you have a lovely, easy recovery day. My body just falls apart on a Monday. I don't know why, because I don't like most people have like mega weekends doing their long runs and stuff, but my weekends are just being taxi driver. And so I'm not even doing that much activity. And I feel terrible on the Monday. I think my mind is blown.
It's all stress though. Lisa came back from seeing her parents just sitting in the car for hours. She was absolutely wrecked.
Oh my God. I drove 100 miles just for ski drop-offs the other day. 100 miles in one day driving up and down because I had like 12 up and down still. Oh my God. Anyway, I always redeem myself because I have a really hard strength session on a Monday and that feels good. Strength feels good. Running does not feel good. And Monday is my favorite, which is the sled push. I love it. Do you know what that is? When you pile up it's called a sled.
I've seen the machines. Yeah, I've never actually done it. So you can kind of push this thing across the gym.
And it slowly got heavier and heavier as the weeks gone on. And my instructions are to go as slow as I can, but it's right in front of the dumbbells. And so if it's busy, everybody's trying to get to the dumbbells. But I just put Taylor Swift on as loud as I can. And I refuse to go faster. And I have to do 8 laps of that. And then I go straight into another exercise. Oh my God. The burn on my calves is the real deal. But I love it, Gary.
That's going to do everything, isn't it? That's
it's
the
an
whole body.
Goodness. I can just feel my hamstrings popping out of my sweaty Betty leggings there. So. Oh, but it kills me. So yeah, I happy get that strength done. Then next, you guilted me last week because I said, I think I'd done like the sessions hadn't really been great. And I was like, and you were like, Eddie, come on, it's disappointing me. So I jumped on the treadmill and the gym treadmills are amazing. They're like bouncy. They're really wide and they've got like massive screens. I don't know how to get the screen to work. I'm always in a rush, so I don't have time for that. But I think you can put stuff on the screen. So I did 5, 5, 4, 4, 3, 3, 2, 2. Oh my God. My lovely sports therapist, she has the room next door to the treadmills and she appeared and I think I'd done 5, 5, 4, 4. I think I was on the 3s. Anyway, she was checking me out, of course, because I had my little shorts and top on. She was checking out my form. So I paused it to say hi to her and go, yeah, you're like, what you see? Running pretty faster. I didn't know, honestly. I didn't say any of that. And then when I went to back start it, it reset, Gary. Oh, the horror. The horror. What did I do? I don't know how far I've run. How am I going to log this on Strava? I don't know what rep I'm on. Oh my God. And I never want to cheat. I feel like I was like, have I done 2-3 minutes or have I done 1 3-minute? I can't remember.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I better go back and do them again. And then I won't get it wrong. Did them again, Gary. Oh my God, I did them again. I was so raging. Anyway, my treadmill at home always feels quite slow. I'm always like, I'm sure I'm running faster to what it says it is. The one at the gym, I'm sure it's lying and I'm not running as fast as it says it is, but I'm going to take it. 3:55-minute case. I had to keep checking. I took a screenshot of what speed I'm running at because I never want to run always wary about my hammies that I can run quite fast. You know, it was a 60-second 400-meter runner in my time, but I never want to run that fast because my hamstrings, they just can't take it. But I felt good.
Those Ks felt good. Oh,
Those Ks felt good, yeah, because all my efforts have been uphill. I nearly always do efforts uphill. One, because I live in the mountains, and also for injury prevention. It's just so great to do efforts uphill. So I was like, yeah, I was pretty happy. And I had more in me. Not gloating. This is not gloating. This is just like...
Sounds like it.
Making Gary feel bad. Anyway, then I had to do my strength, and that wasn't good. So the run was great, and then the strength I had to take out. I couldn't do the bit of plyometrics. My arms were falling off. So how the mighty have fallen from my sled pushing to then I literally couldn't do. I had like 3 sets of, again, don't judge me, 3 sets of 30 press ups. I've got very strong arms. What can I say? And I can normally bang out the first 2 sets, and the last one is a little bit punchy. Oh my God, I'd get to 10.
I don't even know if I could do 30 press ups. Going to try that later.
Yeah, try it later.
Be on Strava.
18 minutes, 30 press ups.
Oh.
Long run. Did my long run, 3 hours 30. Was thinking about 4 hours, but I got 3 hours 30 and not enough. I can't. If I get back to my van, I'm like, I'm not. No, I'm finished. I'm done. I had put my full Northern Traverse kit into my Montane Gecko, my 20 litres that I wore for the spine, but it really wasn't comfortable. It was like banging on the bottom of my back. Oh my God, my 2 friends that I was with. As I was going uphill with it, it was like pressing into my discs. It did not feel good. So we did this pretty good lap, which was like grinding uphill for about 500 feet, and then a steep 1,000-foot climb zigzagging up the hill. So it was like run, hike, and then it was like technical downhill, then smooth downhill, and then really smooth downhill. Did that 3 times. So it's quite good because I'm aware that I've not run downhill very much. So we did that 3 times. For the third loop, I was like, what am I doing? And I just took out most of the weight and left it in the van. And that was better. But then I got the fear. So I messaged friend of the show, James Noble. I zoomed into all his photos to see what pack he was wearing and what pack a lot of them were wearing. And they nearly all had Salomon packs on. So I messaged him to ask, and he was like, yeah, Eddie, what are you doing? You don't need that big a pack. Go for a 12 litre. I have shoved, it's easy to, the hit list isn't big, Gary. I don't understand why it's so heavy. I put it all in. I did my long run yesterday, but it still feels quite heavy.
What's your water? What have you got to carry water-wise? Because that's...
Well, you have to carry, obviously I'll have 1,000 litres. A litre in the front.
There's a kilo, isn't it?
There's a litre in the front, yeah. And then I've got to carry 2 extra bottles, but I won't fill those up. So I have a belt on as well. So I'll put any extra water I have in the belt. I'll put food in the belt. I even did all that, Gary. I've got a lighter head torch than I had for the spine. So I've got 2 head torches. The battery pack's quite heavy. Yeah. It all just adds up. You basically have a spare kit plus your waterproofs, hats, gloves. It does all add up. So I did my long run with it yesterday. It's okay. Like on the flats, it's fine. Downhills, it's fine. It's the steep uphills that normally I would be able to run and I can't run. It's too heavy. But then I have to be like, Eddie, you're not going to run those in the race anyway. So it's hard around here because I'd be like, normally I can run up this. My God, I can't run up this one. As soon as I reckon it's about 4 kilograms. And as soon as I put that on my back, then I struggle on a steep uphill. But anyway, downhills, Gary, all this strength work. My God, my legs. I haven't looked at my legs because it's winter and they're just in leggings. I don't know what size they are. They must be enormous. But my legs feel so strong running down the hill. Uphill, I feel like quite compact and quite good, but not really. But the downhill, I'm like, my God, I feel like almost the leg strength is like, I guess the stuff I've done in the gym has been so heinous. My legs running downhill when they just need to stabilize a bit. They're like, this is so easy. Holding a barbell with 70 kilograms on. We just got a 4K back. This is easy. That run did give me DOMs. You didn't get any DOMs. God damn you. You're whining about all this. My quads the next day were so sore. I always like to have a little jog around town on Friday. Give myself a little treat. Don't go with the dogs. A little bit of tarmac. Nice and easy. You can trip over your own feet. Trip over the tourists. Oh my God. I was embarrassed running around the town. I was like, really hope no one listens to the podcast and goes, is that Eddie? She's like...
I wonder if you can have DOMs on the Northern Traverse Recce.
I wonder if you're going to have DOMs on the Northern Traverse Recce, Gary.
No DOMs for Gary.
No, that's another t-shirt.
No
No
dance
dance
for
for
Gary.
Gary. When we did our spine recce, we had like stiff legs, but we didn't have DOMs because mainly we were chatting. It wasn't
Yeah.
fast. So I'm hoping that will be the same unless
Fingers crossed, yeah.
it's a lot of boys. There is a lot of ego and Eddie's going to be the sweeper.
It'd be like the spine race, that peloton of men.
That picture will go viral. And Eddie's in the back. She's got a really grumpy face because the boys keep dropping her on everything.
But you won't have DOMs.
Anyway, yeah, it's taken me longer to recover. I'm embracing. I love the fact you're fighting your age. You're like fighting the pace. You're really like, I need to, and I'm just like, I embrace it. I'm like, oh, I need another recovery day. Let's push that session to next week. I'm not bothered about the fact, but also I'm training for something that it's all about strength and it's all about fortitude, strong body. And I think as we get older, we get that strength, that mental strength gets more. And as the pace drops off, we get better at other stuff. You're strong.
I don't feel mentally strong at the moment.
Oh, no, but that's understandable. Yeah, I'll make you feel mentally strong next week. Don't worry. I'll keep hitting you. Come on, Gary. Come on, take the pain.
But if I went out and did an out and back Lakeland 100 route, the pace I can hit would be far faster than race day pace. While the marathon just flips it big time.
Honestly, if I was trying to do what you're trying to do, I know because I would struggle running. I know that I would be super sad too. I'd be like, oh my God, I just can't do it. Yeah, we have had more ski races. He got DQ'd, everybody. I know everyone's now actually his super fan. Highs and lows. Well, I wasn't there because I can't remember why. But yeah, it was slalom against slalom. Jeopardy, those races. And somebody, a coach from another team, said he missed one of the gates. So he said it went through his legs. And he said,
okay.
I'd have felt it if it had gone through my legs. And it didn't. So he got disqualified because another coach was like, bitter. So it's not, that's sport though. That's sport. He had to pick himself up and then and then get back to racing. Yeah. So that highs and lows. But God, I'm so happy I have that tool set of sporting to be able to get the kids, make the kids back up with it. When they come back with that sort of thing, I'm like, yeah, but do you remember Mum? Remember Dad? Remember Dodred? Anyway, so last week was good. I almost got to, I don't know, my overall, almost 70 miles, almost 11,000 feet. I think I was Sunday, I was going to do another run. Then I was like, do you know what, Eddie, you've got through this week. You've done your 3 decent strength sessions. You've done your sessions. Let's just call it time. I'm wanting that extra. I'm wanting that extra 10 miles on my Strava account. I'm wanting that extra hour. And then I'm like, that's enough. That hold fire, Eddie, hold fire. It's a good but hard place to be in when you always think could do more. Life is so busy at the moment. I feel like, and I know this, everybody will be able to relate to this, nothing happens that properly. Nothing goes to plan. I saw Emily Forsberg posted something saying she doesn't share her Strava because she doesn't like explaining why she changes stuff or she runs really slow or stuff. And that's one of the reasons why I don't like having a coach, because my life is so mad. And every day what I plan to do doesn't happen and has to be changed. And I don't have the energy to then tell somebody why. It's just easier just to keep it all in my head, just not have to explain and only disappoint myself. And you.
I hear you. My goodness me. I literally had this conversation with Lisa yesterday that I don't think I'm doing anything to the best of my ability, but life is just wild. I could do it, I thought I reflected on this, see if I could go again, do the marathon again. I think, yes, I'd have to grow up a bit and train properly, but I'd have to be brutally selfish too. And I'm a dad, I've got 2 kids, I can't be that person. So yeah.
Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Let's not be that guy. No, it's life. It happens. We get through week by week, Gary. The most important thing is that we're here. We're showing up. I'm putting the podcast out.
I do appreciate it. I've had lots of people reach out saying, don't stress, Gary. You're doing great. So appreciate all the love I've had in my DMs. Appreciate that.
This week, we chat with Fran Blackett, mum, fell runner, lover of maps, hills and mountains, loves navigation events so much, she decided to share her skills for those that needed to learn, to improve for competitions and give people the confidence to participate in not just in traditional fell races, but perhaps in any sort of event, and to feel that they were safe on the mountain. We should say we recorded this quite a few weeks ago, so we should apologise to Fran that it's a little bit out of date, because she talks about her navigation weekend that was happening. That has happened. So hopefully she'll jump onto Facebook and tell us how it's all going, and people will be able to find her webpage and book onto one of her events. It's definitely on our list now, isn't it, Gary? On our ever to-do list. Hope you enjoy our chat with Fran. Welcome, Fran Blackett, with the tidiest kitchen we've ever seen on the Tea and Trails podcast. To the Tea and Trails podcast, we start all our interviews with the same question: ease you in gently to this highbrow content. Where are you? What's the view from your window? And have you been for a run today?
Hi, thanks so much for having me. I am in my kitchen. I'm not sure it deserves the tidiest kitchen award. That's where I'm sat. The bit that you can see is tidy. Out of my window, I see, we live in terraced houses, so I see kind of our gravelly parking area where everybody parks their cars. And I have not been for a run today. Mondays are rest days. Yeah, so I'm Durham based, more out towards Barnard Castle, which is now infamous. Kind of between Barnard Castle, Bishop Auckland, just, a little bit out there, near Cockfield Fell, which my husband Andy likes to tell everyone is a ancient monument. So there's lots of coal mining on there, and there's evidence of Iron Age settlements. So yeah, anyone that comes gets a tour.
Gets a tour, all of the notes.
And they're like, that's a grassy mound. I'm like, yeah. That's it.
It's a very interesting one. Can you get to the trail straight from your door, or are you going to go for a little bit of a tarmac first?
So Cockfield Fell is it's a small area. It's probably, if you run its perimeter, probably about 7 or 8 kilometres kind of around, but it is then off path. It's just grassy, grazing areas. So so my local kind of from the door miles are around there. It's on a slight hill, so you do kind of get some hill work in there. During lockdown things, obviously all of my runs were on there, and it was just like just so repetitive. But I was lucky in that didn't have to be off the trails. And then Hampsterley Forest is about a 15-minute drive.
That's pretty good. Pretty good having Hampsterley on your doorstep like that. You get some good hills too. I know it's not like Lake District or Welsh or Scottish hills, but Hampsterley's pretty good. Yeah. And was it Dominic Cummins? Was it Dominic Cummins made
That's right. Barnard Castle? He's like in Barnard Castle, yeah.
Were you the whistleblower, Fran? Were you the one?
Saw him.
I love it, yeah. What about Raby Castle? We drive past Raby Castle quite often. If we drive into the lakes and we see all the deer, I just think, that'd be lovely to run around there. Can you get to those trails from where you live too?
You have to pay, I think. I think if you live in Staindrop, which is the village, then you're allowed to run around there. But otherwise, you have to pay to get in.
Yeah, it's quite impressive, Eddie. If you ever drive past, if you get lucky, you get a real deer show. It's very impressive.
I just get the images of that video with the guy shouting for his dog.
Oh, yeah. Totally in control of his animal.
Fran, tell us a little bit about your journey into running, ultra running, how it's come. Do we need to mention family pedigree at this point, or?
You're welcome. Yeah, welcome to kind of drop that in. It's quite interesting how that's all kind of...
Tell us, spill the beans.
Yeah, so Fran Blackett, my brother is the Andy Berry. Kind of a similar, not a similar journey in any way. I did take him for his first fell run, so,
You taught him everything you know. You don't need to be shy. It's fine.
so kind of, I got into fell running through Andy Blackett, who is now my husband. So I met him in 2013, so just over 10 years ago. Before that, I was doing a bit of running. I did the Great North Run a couple of times. I'd do the odd 10K. I was more doing it just to kind of keep fit and kind of with no real kind of aim for it. I wasn't a member of a club or anything. I was doing a lot of cycling, so I've always kind of been drawn to longer distance kind of personal challenges. There's kind of a branch of cycling called Audax. I don't know
I don't know that. Never tell us.
So Audax is long distance cycling. You're entirely self-sufficient. So I think the distances start at 100 kilometers. So you all start together. You get given a set of, I guess, like the equivalent of checkpoints. Might be a cafe, might be just like a village, and you go around and you have a little card, and you either have to collect evidence that you've been to that place. So it would be like from a a receipt from a co-op. Some checkpoints would be manned and they would have a little stamper, so you genuinely like get a little stamp in your card. Like no time limits, no kind of cut-offs, and the people at the front, they're racing to be first, but generally, like it's just a day out and kind of go around and
that's sort of like LDWA vibe of like
yeah.
But is it quite? I've never heard of it, but I'm not really a cyclist. But is it quite big? Scene? If you're a cyclist, you know about it.
No, I think it's quite niche. It's quite niche in that like, there wouldn't be huge numbers that would turn up. The most famous one is called Paris-Brest Paris.
Okay, yes, I do have heard of that. Yes.
So they start in Paris and they cycle out to Brest and then they come back. Is that like 1,000 kilometers? So my dad got hugely, if he listens, he'll be like, oh my God, Fran, can't believe you didn't know. Couldn't remember how far Paris-Brest Paris was. But it's a long way. There's a brilliant photograph. It's only on every 4 years, I think. I saw this brilliant photograph from last year's and it was just all these cyclists in this, it's like a checkpoint and they're all just like lying on benches, like their face down, they're like on their back, they're just like wiped out. Like my dad describes it like there's people lying by the side of the road and like it's just carnage. I was doing like 200 kilometers in a day, no overnight. Yeah, some of them last 3-4 days. And it's all continuous, so you're entirely like self-sufficient and sorting all your own food out and stuff. So yeah, so I was doing a bit of cycling. Then I met Andy. Kind of gone a bit off track there, didn't I?
Oh, love it. Love a story. Love it.
So Andy, well into his fell running, had been running for a while, and it was like, oh wow, like because fell running for me like always been something that somebody else had, like other people did. Like we walked in the hills, like I think my brother talked a bit about family holidays and things. So we were kind of brought up with family holidays in the lakes and weekend camping trip. But it was always, something else, something that other people did. And so I was kind of then sucked into the fell running world, I suppose. And like 2 or 3 weeks after meeting him, he was doing the Skidder race, which starts in Keswick and just goes straight up and down Skidder. so I came to spectate and oh my God, I went like halfway up and because it just goes straight up and down Skidder, the descent is like horrific. And I was just that, and all these people coming down the hill and the noises they were making and they just looked in so much pain. And I was like, what is this? What is this? But then strangely, you get kind of drawn in, don't you? So by the end of the year, I was a member of Durham Fell Runners. And
it sounds like you've skipped all of the trail races, though. You went straight from, like, say, Great North Run to fell race.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I love it when you see literally the classic fell race is just up a mountain, turn around and come down as fast as possible. Absolutely love that.
Yeah, and they just come down so fast. Yeah.
The knees.
Yeah.
Knees before screes. Was that Ellis Bland? Knees before the screes or something. I'm sure he said. But then you like the mountain marathons too. Like I think you're in double figures.
Yeah. So 2014, then we did. So Andy had done 1 or 2 mountain marathons before. Yeah. So the next summer he was like, oh, let's do the Saunders Mountain Marathon, which is held in the Lake District every year, and it really is a brilliant one to get started with. First off, it's always held the first weekend in July, so normally the weather's pretty good. Second off, at mid-camp, you can pre-order beer and cans of pop and milk. So it's like, it is a great one. There's none of that at the Arm, just make that clear.
Okay.
So it's in the summer, like the weather's good, and you get all these luxuries at mid-camp. So so that was our first mountain marathon.
Together as a pair?
Yeah, I was going to say, was there much tension? So 2014, your relationship's quite new.
Yeah, it's quite new. And he's much faster than me. So now we've got it nailed down. But yeah, at the time there was a lot. Yeah, so the first hill. Yeah, so we set off the first hill. I was absolutely blowing like so hard. And he's like, "You all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, just trying to keep up with you." And he was like, "Okay, whoa, right." That's not gonna work. Like,
yeah,
we need to be going at your pace. You go, it's okay. You need to keep up with all these people. It's like you set off like staggered starts, but there's still people around you, and it's like being a complete newbie. It's like, oh, you gotta keep up. I've got to keep up. I'm getting left behind.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, whoa. And then like fast forward like 45 minutes, an hour, and I'm just like lying on the path, like it was round Helmelin, and I'm like, I can't do it anymore. I can't do it. So yeah, it was a super, super steep learning curve. And then yeah, day 2, like we came back, I got to a gate, and I was like, I just can't open it. I just can't open this gate. This gate's broken, like just having an absolute epic. And he was like, do you want a gel? I was like, no, I don't want a gel. I was like, oh, go on then. I'd never had an energy gel in my life. Just really, I can't even remember, like cereal bars or something. And he's like, have this gel. And I was like, okay. So I had this gel and then like ran like the next half an hour. Like he was like, whoa, that was insane. I was like, whoa. Like my body had never experienced anything.
Are they all the same though? I've never know a little bit about the but no matter what brand that you enter, is the format for these mountain marathons the same pretty much?
Pretty much. So all of the courses at the Saunders are linear. So that means you've got a set route to follow, and you've got to visit your checkpoints in order. So if you can't find a checkpoint, you're out, and then you really can't find it. Yeah, then you don't complete. At the there are score courses as well. So a score course, you just choose which checkpoints you want to go to, and you've got a set amount of time. So the long score, you've got 8 hours and 6 hours, I think. And then the short score, you've got 5 hours and 4 hours. So that's your set amount of time you've got to get from A to B, visiting as many checkpoints as you can. And so the most points wins. On the linear course, it's the fastest time wins.
And no GPS.
No GPS.
So is that then what set you on this journey for wanting to improve your navigation, I suppose, the OMS?
Yeah, I think so. So we did our first one, and then in the September, I did my first Lake District mountain trial, which is just a 1-day event. But again, it's navigation. It's a linear course, so you've got to get round. There's 3 courses, a short, a medium, and the classic. So the classic Lake District Mountain Trial is like kind of seen as like a real true test of fell running craft. You've got to be fast, but you've also got to be able to navigate between the points. It's like, I think it's one of the longest running fell running events. Like the first one was in 1952.
Oh my goodness, wow.
71 years ago. Yeah. Yeah. The website's great. Like if you look on the website, it's got this amazing archive of all of the completions. Joss Naylor's at the top with 52 completions of, like I think I knew that fact. And then when I was like, oh, I'll just have a look. And 52. It's incredible. I've done 5, so I'm lagging behind Joss a little bit.
You and Joss. Is that solo or pair?
So that is solo, although the short course, you can now do it as a pair, I think, to try and encourage sort of participation and people starting off on the short course. You can now do that as a pair. So I've done all of those solo. So that was my first kind of trip out on a navigation event without Andy, and it wasn't entirely successful. I think I was like 3rd from last. Like it's where the name for Run Like a Haggis came from, because on the way from checkpoint 4 to checkpoint 5, I ended up just running around Stybarrow Dodd. Like the cloud, in my defense, the cloud was down, but I was like running around this hill, and I was like, I've crossed this path before, like a headless chicken, like clueless. Yeah, like when I always look back on that, I just like refer myself as like running like a haggis, like round and round and round the same hill, like one leg getting shorter than the other, like where?
You weaving a path as you go.
Yeah. And then I was coming into the next checkpoint and everyone else was coming the other way. And I was like, oh, I don't think I've come the most optimal way to this checkpoint. Yeah, I'll just pleased to finish. Like, I don't remember feeling disappointed. I think I just remember feeling like, oh my God, I found all the checkpoints and I finished.
I think, yeah, it's so far my comfort zone. If I finished an event like that, I think I will be absolutely over the moon. 2023, is Andy your team member for that race?
He was.
You must be a well-oiled team now.
We've got it pretty
Who's in charge of what? How does it work?
We're pretty even in terms of navigation skills, so that's good, because 2023 we did the long score, so you've got 8 hours. So if there's just one person doing all of the navigation, that's such a long time to kind of concentrate, and the decision making. And what helps us work really well is that we're kind of on a par, and we can both be looking at the map, and if one person's having a bit of a low, then the other person kind of steps up and takes over and kind of, all right, well, I'll get us from the checkpoint to the next one. And we both enjoy like the route choice and which way are we going to go to this one. Yeah, now we're quite intuitive, I think. It has been 10 years, and lots of people are like, oh God, I couldn't do that with my husband. I just picker and fall out. There are moments where it's not as smooth as it could be. So this year we did the score course. Yeah, like I said, so you've got 8 hours and you choose where you're going to go. So because I'm much more conservative, so when I do these, when I'm getting to like 6 hours, I'm thinking, right, okay, we've got 2 hours left. I'm looking at where the mid camp is, and I'm thinking, right, I'm starting to think about making my way to the mid camp.
Yeah.
Because if you're late, you start to lose your points. So you spent all day collecting all your points. Then once it gets to your 8 hours, for every minute you're late, you lose a point for the first 5 minutes, and then it goes up to like 5 minutes, and then if you're half an hour late, then you just lose everything. No
This is brutal Uno.
Yeah. So I start to get like, oh my God, I don't want to lose any points. Andy's a maths teacher, so he's much quicker with the maths than me. I'm like a lot slower, like, oh, if it's 1 point. But he's like, yeah, if we go and we get this checkpoint, it doesn't matter if we're 5 minutes late, because the checkpoint's worth 40 points. But if we're 5 minutes late, then we'll just lose 5 points. So then we'll still have a net gain of 35. And I'm like, 6 hours.
How can he crunch the numbers when he's working so hard? That's amazing.
I'm like, I just don't want to lose any points. Yeah, so we did have a moment on, it was on the side of Trivan. There was a checkpoint higher up, and he was like, let's go for it. I was like, I don't want to go for it. He's like, come on. And there was a moment where he turned to me and he was like, you're just saying no to everything I suggest. And I was like, I'm really sorry. I'm just so worried about getting the checkpoint. So yeah, there are, we have our moments. But we made it, I think we were like 1 minute inside the time. So in the end, it worked out.
That's loads of room. What was the weather like? Because it's October, Wales.
Yeah, I was well aware that the weather could be terrible. The year before we were in Langdale, and it was awful. The weather was great. So yeah, it was perfect. There was like one like small section where the cloud came in, but the rest of the day it was clear. Yeah. It was funny. It was like there'd be wind, like on some of the summits, it would be really, really windy, but because you're kind of up and down and you're never kind of up on the summits for too long, then yeah, it was great. I was just like in a base layer all day, which was great. The weather overnight was awful. But actually, both days during the day, it was fine.
I'm fascinated by that. The sense of ownership for a decision, and who basically one person doesn't agree with the navigation choice, how you decide if you're going to
move
go for it or
on
not.
Afterwards.
Yeah, and I think that we're both very like, we wouldn't hold a grudge,
Yeah.
He could, like, Andy could obviously tell that I wasn't going up there for that checkpoint. Like this wasn't going to happen. There was no point like dragging me up there because we were going to end up late. So he was just like, all right, okay, we'll just go in. We'll just go here. Yeah, you've just got to not hold on to like any frustrations, because the other person is going to make mistakes. Second day, we were looking for a spur. We'd been going along the side of a lake, and I hadn't really, I was responsible because I hadn't really looked very closely at the map. Andy'd read the checkpoint description, and he thought it said spur top. So we were kind of running along. We saw someone in a backpack. In his head, it was here. But on the map, your checkpoints are marked with a circle, and the feature should be in the centre of that circle. So I was like glancing at my map, and I was kind of saying, the centre of the circle isn't where you're heading to? And he was like, oh, it's fine. It's next to the path. It's next to the path. And I was like, but I didn't really argue enough. I was like, oh, he was like motoring along. So it was a little bit like me, like chasing his heels and thinking, oh, wow, he must think it's right. And so then we got there and there was no checkpoint on the spur. And then we were like looking around. And we're like, oh, it's not here, which is like, I mean, we did have one experience on a different Saunders where the checkpoint had been taken or they'd forgotten to put it out. So there is in the back of our mind, like, oh, well, maybe it isn't here. Like, maybe someone's nicked it. Like, but then we saw like this trail of people like further down towards the lake, and we were like, hang on a minute, where are they going? So just like that, like subtle difference. So it was like underneath us, we were like on this rig. And then the checkpoint was out of sight beneath us. He was furious about that, like all the way up to the next checkpoint. I could just tell he was furious.
I'm not too sure if I'd survive that.
Like we've just got to move on. Yeah, we've wasted.
It's like a marriage, isn't it? It's like if you have an argument when you're married, at one point someone's got to say sorry and you got to move on because you've got to stay. You're with each other forever, so you can't forever. Someone's got to break the awkward moment.
It just happens, doesn't it? Like, I'd kind of been thinking, oh, it's in the wrong place, but I hadn't said anything, so that was my fault. And like, he'd misread it, and it just happens.
Have a gel, have a snack.
Yeah, just give him a bit of space.
Any top tips? Anyone thinking, oh yeah, fancy entering one of these style events?
Yeah, definitely have a go. The Saunders have a virtual course, so that's a good way to kind of get out and practice. I think it's if you go on the Saunders Mountain Marathon, just look them up. I think it's in the Southern Lakes somewhere, and you just download this app, and then when you get to the checkpoint, your phone buzzes. So that's kind of a good way to kind of test out.
I like the sound of that, Eddie. Yeah.
I think there are brilliant weekends away. So you get to mid-camp, and then obviously you've carried your tent and everything. You've got to get that set up. Then you've just got hundreds and hundreds of runners just milling around, and you bump into people. And as long as it's not pouring with rain, it's quite sociable.
But is there anything to do? I think you mentioned it earlier that the wasn't like that. So when you get to the mid camp, for the is there a bar, anything like that?
No, you're entirely self-sufficient. You've got everything that you're going to eat or drink. They just provide you with some water and a boggy location. Get to camp early because otherwise you end up in the boggiest spot. And don't camp next to the toilets either. That's my top tip. That is my top tip. Lots of newbies, like you see all the newbies, and they're like, oh, I'm going to get a spot next to the toilet, so it'll be dead handy. But then they just have to listen to those portaloos.
Slamming doors all night. Yeah.
All night.
And that's if people actually make it to the toilet. We know one of our coaches, Brew with the coaches, she never quite made it to the toilet when she was doing her.
We don't need that. I think probably the biggest hurdle of these races isn't the kit. It's not the weekend away. It is probably the navigation that is putting off. Now with watches, we are lazy at learning maps and relying on our watches too much. But you have a solution for this, and you are testament that you can teach yourself to map read and practice. And now you're really confident. Tell us a little bit about. You've touched on it already. runlikeahaggis.com.
Yeah, runlikeahaggis.com. I am offering navigation courses for runners who want to develop their skills kind of specifically with a mind to running in the mountains. Our beginner course is more focused on being able to follow a set route. And then I've got an intermediate course, which is more the kind of mountain marathon, mountain trial type navigation, where you're going more off path and you're looking for routes and to find checkpoints. So it's kind of wild that it's kind of become a reality. Just coming up for 2 years ago, I set up a ladies running group with Durham Fell runners, which has been incredible. And speaking to ladies that come along there, they're like, oh, like so often they'd be saying, oh, I couldn't do a fell race because I don't know how to read a map. I don't know how you can read a map, Fran. Like, oh God, like it's just amazing. And like, oh no, like, oh, compass, and like it's some like witchcraft that I know. And I'm like, oh no, you can definitely learn to read a map. And they're like, oh no, I couldn't. I was like, oh, you should do a navigation course. Like look into that, and I started looking into navigation courses that I could recommend to them. And then someone just said to me, someone at a running club was like, "Well, you should do a navigation course." And I'm like, "I can't do a navigation course. Like, I make mistakes all the time. Like, I can't." And they're like, "No, like, yeah, you definitely could." That idea kind of sits with you for a while, doesn't it? And you're like, "Oh." So I ran a few for our running club. Yeah, they were really successful, and the ladies loved it. It spawned from that, really. But then I did a one for everyone in November, and I mistakenly posted it. We've got like a public Facebook group and a private one.
Okay.
I put it on the public one, and then I had all these messages from people that weren't from Durham Fell Runners, like, "Oh, can I book on your navigation course?" And that was a bit awkward because I was like, "Oh, well, actually, because it's free, I just wanted to keep it like just for us. But like, out of interest, would you pay for a navigation course?" And they were like, yeah, no, I would. And I was actually at the home. I was like, "Oh, so even it's as new as that. So even at the end of October, I was like, "Oh, if I do this, I'm going to call it Run Like a Haggis." And then it's kind of stuck. Like when it became a reality, oh no, like, right, okay, I'm going to do this. Really, I couldn't think of another name.
But I love it. It takes out because I think a lot of people would think this is so stereotypical, but they would see a navigational course with perhaps a man led by a man who's been following a map and compass all his life. It's a bit like maths, isn't it? That if you get it, you're a maths teacher, and if you don't get it, you're like, "But I don't understand." And they're like, "But it's so easy. This is all you have to do." You need somebody like you, Fran, who's learnt it, who's taught themselves, who's made the mistakes, who knows what the sort of errors are, and doesn't make it out that it's harder than it is, that it's like accessible to everybody, which I think is amazing. Tell us, if somebody signed up to your basic course, give us a quick what can they expect? Because let's say Gary and I, we don't know anything. We've just bought a compass to come on your course. What does the course sort of look like?
Yeah, so we're going to start off looking at different maps, because that can be confusing as well. So you've got Harvey's maps, you've got OS maps, and then you pick up an orienteering map, and they're completely different. So it's like, so from the off, we're going to look at those and just kind of check out your understanding. Like, if you're zero and you're like, "I know nothing," that's absolutely fine. We're going to then kind of move to how do we, like, the first thing is where are you on the map? So then looking at the map, looking around, what can you see, and then being able to pinpoint yourself on the map. We're then going to start moving with our map and orientating our map and moving out. And then we go on a little 2K wander, and then at that point, we're not touching a compass yet. We're just going to be using the map and the features and what we can see. And then we're going to do some fun activities. I've got a little family of haggis. Actually, they're upstairs. How rude. I excluded them. So some little family of haggis that we use. So I've got 12 of them, and that my boys and some other people on my Facebook group have helped to name. So we've got Haggy is the youngest one. We've got Monroe. There's Haggis McHaggis Face. That was Andy's one. And also, so I've got these little haggis. So we're going to do some activities there, just learning to be orientating our map and then using that to then go in the right direction.
And what kind of group sizes are we looking at?
So only 4. So a maximum.
Oh, wow. Okay, great.
Because there's so much. And I just wanted people that came to be able to have enough input. If people are picking up bits quicker or slower, then if there's any more than 4, then I'm gonna miss people, or they're not gonna get that quality input and instruction. And then we're gonna move on to sketch map, and then following some routes again with my little haggis friends. So you'll know you're at the right checkpoint if you've got the right haggis. Yeah, kind of make some games and activities out of it. So we do that in the morning, and then we'll have a break for lunch. And in the afternoon, we're going to go follow an imaginary fell race route. So then we're going to try and put those. And then we get the compasses out. We do get your compass out in the morning, and then we're like looking at bearings and checking that the path that you're on is going in the correct direction, which I think is the most useful thing for your compass to be able to tell you. Because when the clag's down, and it's just so disorientating. I'm sure we've all done it. You you think you know which is the right direction, and you're like, yeah, I know it. I've done it on Fairfield, even when the cloud hasn't been down. Like Fairfield is like the most, for me, just the most confusing summit, and I've happily run off in like the wrong direction. Like,
Oh yeah.
because I haven't looked at my map or my compass, I don't know where I am. And then before I know it, I'm like, oh no. And like, yeah, so using your compass just to sense check. And then in the afternoon we go off and we use all those skills to follow a pretend fell race route. So hopefully by the end, then you're confident to.
Am I right in thinking every fell race I've done, you're not allowed a GPS watch? Is that correct?
If it's an FRA fell race, then it's no GPS. Yeah.
I always liked it. Mike Parsons and Stu a few weeks ago. Hands up, I am rubbish with a map and compass, but I do think it's important because there's no regulation on the mountain. We can do. Tomorrow I could go anywhere I wanted without anybody kind of regulating me, and without any real knowledge or even the proper equipment, but to get this extra knowledge, literally, my goodness me, it could be life-saving. It seems kind of crazy that there is no vetting procedure before we let loose on the hills.
Yeah, definitely. And I find as well, like another huge thing for me is that it just really like engages me with the environment that I'm in. You're you're there and you're looking at the map and you're looking where you are. It just makes you be thinking, all right, okay, I'm going to go uphill next, or I'm going to go downhill next, or I'm passing a tarn, or I'm going to pass a river, or just really keeps me in tune. I enjoy it more. Like I've always got the map in my hand, and I did a run the week before Christmas, the same weekend that actually my brother went out and did his crazy brain and horrific. I
know.
I was due to have like a big mountain day that weekend, and I'd started off, I was going to do the Cumbrian Traverse, and then the weather was bad, so I was like, oh, I'm going to have a go at the T round, and then the weather was still too bad, and I was like, oh, I ended up doing the Ullswater Way, because I was like, and I can't believe that my brother was out doing what he did, but anyway. Opposite for me. So I only decided like last minute, I'm going to do the Ullswater Way, and I hadn't looked at the map, and I knew it would kind of have fiddly bits, so I downloaded a GPS route to my watch. I know, shock. It was the first time I'd done it. Also a new watch that had this ability, and I was like, but I just found it really stressful because I kept running past where I was supposed to be, and then it was like beeping, where should you be, and I had a map that was in my bag, and somehow like I couldn't be bothered to get it out. And and I was so full of regret. I was like, oh, you should have just.
Sounds like me. It's exactly me.
Got the map out.
How do people sign up? They go up on the webpage. Have you got more courses coming up?
Yeah, so there's more courses coming up. Yeah, go to haggis.com, and all the course information is on there. A bit more about me and some of the different events that I've done. There's some blogs on there. Yeah, and then a booking page, so you just book through there. So I've got at the moment, I've got beginner courses, intermediate courses. I've got a night navigation course as well. If you fancy a bit of night nav.
It's only local to me. I should really sign up.
You really should, Gary. You should have done that before.
Great.
Because I remember, say, a race like the Old County Tops, which I've done 3 or 4 times, and the sections on that with, see if the clag's down, if you just had a bit of compass knowledge at least and a bearing, oh, wow, you could I can just think of one section in particular on the way to Scarfell Pike across the bogs. With the fell race, you can't use a GPX, so you rely on your map reading skills, or you've recce'd the course multiple times. Yeah, should do a course, 100%.
What I love about a map is that you get the geography in action at the same point of when you're looking at a map, and you can see you learn about all the different features. And if you're moving along terrain, you sort of move out of the terrain. You can start to see the contours like in the map. The map sort of comes alive. But I've never used one in a race because I'm always like, I want to be go, go, go. And I've always Bryn did the Dragon's Back with just a map. He didn't have a watch, and he didn't recce, and he just map read the whole thing. But I would be like, I need the line because I just.
But how would you approach the though, Eddie? It would be definitely more of an adventure for me. I don't think I could be chased.
I'm pretty I can compass. I can map read with a compass, but I'm not quick, Gary. So it would be, and also Bryn gets so annoyed at me because I put myself in the map and I am like, this is where we are. And he's like, no, you're finding all the things because you want to be there, but you're not actually there. Fran's nodding her head because I'm like, yeah.
I've been there as well. I've been there. You make it, like you make what you can see. You're making it fit the map. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Do you ever find, do you ever see people, Fran? I don't want you to throw anyone under a bus, but they're not supposed to be using a GPS watch, but they are using a GPS watch.
Oh, do you know, I never have. No.
I think it's clean. Trail running is clean. Let's not besmirch it.
Trying to drag it down. Sorry. But do you notice also, sorry, one last for me, Eddie, do you notice, because you've done the all those style races for 10 years, and we mentioned earlier with the rise of the GPX watch, maybe the decline in map reading, does that play out maybe numbers on the start line too? I'm not too sure if that's something you've observed.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's another part of my motivation as well, is like, if I could just play like a small part in kind of preserving this kind of part of our sport, because definitely when I started there'd be the Saunders. So 10 years ago there'd be the Saunders in the summer. Shane Ollie would organise. Initially it was the RAB, and then it became the Rock. So that was another mountain marathon that would happen like the end of September, and then you'd have the at the end of October. And then at the time Shane was also doing the Dark Mountains, his overnight one. So that was 5 on the calendar. And then there used to be a Scottish mountain marathon as well. So that was 6. And now we're just down to just the Saunders and the Just be so sad, to lose those. And I know that the Saunders do a lot, kind of trying to draw younger people in. I think it's maybe even under 30. They get a discounted entry. So
okay.
Harry will get a discounted entry if we enter.
Keep working with the collagen.
Numbers are struggling, because I think, like you say, it's just so easy. Pick up the GPS and that.
But it's also like it sounds like something. Oh, I don't know how to use it, and I expect this is what you've had. I don't know where to start, and it's such a huge thing to learn. But actually, if a day with you get the basics. It's not like then you go now. This is the 0.74 compass that you need to use now. Like once you have the basics and you can get your bearing and you can see where you're on your map, then it's just practice. It's not like that there's. It's just get those basics right first, and then you just need to spend a bit of time practicing, take a map out, take the family out, get them lost, get them involved.
Definitely.
But it's not something, the initial hurdle, I imagine, is what if you can just get over the fear of like, I don't know. I don't even know why it is, but it is something that you think, it seems really complicated. But it's like all these things that somebody like you who can explain something, you go, oh, I get it. And then it's such a tool in your toolbox. The mountain rescue people must just be like, oh, so say to people, have you got a map? Do you know where you are? And people be like, nope. So
well, I take it, and a compass. But it would be next to useless, to be honest. Especially if it was at night time. Christ almighty, I'm not too...
It should be your 2024. You can come to Bryn's map workshop, which is unrelenting. He has no patience, and he's actually quite cruel if you don't get the bearing right, and he'll just disappear. Or you can go to Fran's, which sounds like welcoming, inclusive.
What about a bucket list race for this year? Got anything in the books for 2024?
I'm going to have a go at the Luna Round next month.
Cool.
Awesome.
So that's pretty exciting.
Got to do it quick though, because as the days get longer,
I know.
it's a bit harder.
I've got to get it done. I've got to get it done before the night gets too short. And then I'm going to do the NAV4 event, the Mountain 40. That's at the end of April. So
Awesome. Super exciting.
The next one. One other thing was like the freedom that it brings you, like the freedom to just plan a route and go where you want to go, like not worrying about where the path goes. Like once you've got that confidence to be off path, then, you know, if you want to go summit to summit, then just like go the most direct route and not feeling constrained by the paths, if you like.
It just opens up so much more choice out on the fells and trails if you can read the map and you're comfortable.
From a safety point of view as well, if you do get yourself into trouble or the weather comes in, you can get yourself or your family or whoever you're with, you can find a line and get yourself, or someone gets injured, you can find a line and get yourself off the mountain, the sort of safest route, or guide someone up the mountain to you if you're needing further assistance.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? And the freedom to change your plan as well. Like maybe you want to make it longer, or like you said, cut it short. Like we've got an injury, we've got an issue, you're just not loving it.
Awesome. That's brilliant. And best of luck. I know when this podcast goes out, you will have done your first course over at Hampstead. But yeah, best of luck with that. I hope it goes really, really well. And what a lovely playground to have on your doorstep, Hampstead Forest. Can you get there without driving to park from where you live then? Or do you have to rock up?
No, it isn't.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
I guess I was really dedicated, I could ride my bike, but it's quite hilly.
Should we do the quick five? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. Okay. Oh, this is what sparked this question off, actually, asking your brother about pets on furniture.
He judged us hard, and there was outcry after. We always had to take the podcast down. People were so upset.
But yes, Fran, I'm not too sure if you got any pets actually, but if you did or do, are they allowed on the furniture?
Oh my goodness! So we've already got fish at the moment because that's all that I could. That's all I can handle with two small boys in a small house. But we do sometimes have Ollie, my brother's dog, comes to stay. I mean, I couldn't possibly let him on the sofa. Sometimes he rests his head on it. Like, I wouldn't tell anyone.
Ollie, there's going to be a petition started to
Poor Ollie. Pray for Ollie.
No, yeah, when we had a family dog, and yeah, I absolutely ruined it.
Yes.
On my bed, in my bed. I think like my mum would have been much more like, no, stays in the kitchen. But whenever I come on upstairs.
My kids do the same with our dogs in the morning. I'm like, where's Lindy gone? She's like normally under my feet in the morning, and then one of them is like, oh, she's up here in my bed. God, your beds are manky enough. Don't let the dog in.
Anywhere in the world bucket list race?
There are OMS in the Alps and things.
Yes.
So,
and Japan too.
Japan, yeah, like so, and overseas. Yeah, go to Japan and do an OM. That would be.
Imagine a Japanese map. That could be.
I know, imagine. No idea. It's like American maps have like nothing on them, do they? Like it's just zero detail.
Yeah, it's just a canyon.
All right.
You'd need another Run Like a Haggis course for reading a Japanese map.
Specialist course.
Okay, we're knocking on your door. We are famished, Eddie and I. Absolutely famished. What are you going to cook us? What's your signature dish?
I mean, I should probably knock you up some haggis, neeps and tatties.
I'll take that.
I'll just have the neat.
I actually love a bit of haggis. So I was a primary school teacher until December. So I've only just recently left. Someone brought me as a leaving gift. She'd wrapped it up. She was like, she handed it over to me, and she was like, "I'm just looking for one reaction when you open this present." And like when someone says that to you, like, oh my God, like what? I hope I get it right. Like it's pressure, isn't it? Anyway, and it was a haggis. And I was like, oh, it's hilarious. It's so funny. You know, the fridge, I've been like, Andy, you've got to eat this haggis. This haggis eaten. So we had it. Oh,
yeah. How long does haggis last for?
It's really tasty. Well, like it looks so unpleasant, doesn't it? But it's so tasty.
Oh, I love this question. I do slip it in now and again. We're going to rewind those years. What posters would be on a teenager's Fran's wall?
Oh my goodness. I was horse crazy. I think it would be horses. Horses and maybe a Boyzone poster.
Classic.
Boyzone, they had the eyebrows, didn't they?
He was a Shane.
Yeah,
what's the other guy?
Shane with the eyebrow.
Who's the man? Who's the Ronan? Shane and Ronan.
Oh, is it Ronan? But okay, yes.
Yes, I do. Was there, like we say, show jumping? Was there show jumping superstars that, certain...
Yeah, the Whittakers. Michael Whittaker.
The Whittakers.
Still going. John Whittaker.
Still going.
Yes, still jumping.
Did you have a horse and pony? Were you a horse and pony magazine?
Yes, absolutely. I used to keep them all.
Oh, and I reread them back in the day when you didn't have anything. I would reread them. I once
Like
got
a cartoon strip. Was there like a little cartoon strip? Who was that? The little white pony. Can't remember his name now.
I once got a letter published in Horse and Pony magazine. It was perhaps, I know, Gary.
With goals. Yeah.
I have lived. I have lived. Oh, Fran, thank you so much for coming on the show.
What? Got one more question.
Oh,
got one more. The big one. Every week, Fran, we share the podcast over on Instagram, and you get to pick the Instagram story music. We've had some heavy hitting songs lately. No pressure. What song?
So recently, I've only just come across this song. I get quite obsessed with a song, and then
I get the same.
Put it on my running playlist, and then just repeat it, and then I know that I'm going to get sick of it, and I'm like, no, Fran, don't play it all the time because you're going to get sick of it.
Don't ruin it.
I can't quite help myself. So it's Tom Petty, and what's it called? Running Down a Dream. Running Down a Dream.
I love a bit of Tom Petty.
Yeah,
that's a good choice. Do like a bit of Tom Petty. I think actually Tom Petty, he has come up before as Instagram story music, so maybe he's top of the charts.
Oh, it's good. We can't play it because Spotify won't let us play it on Zoom.
They'll take us down.
They'll take us down, and they definitely listen. Zoom and Spotify, big fans. Now I'll say thank you again. But you deserve 2 thank yous. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Anybody who is interested, go and check out www.runlikeahaggis.com. I know that your inquiries will go through the roof now, Fran. You'll be working 24/7, but such an important skill to just get the basics, and then even if that's all that you do, get a basics, but a map and a compass, and just and somebody like Fran delivering a course so that you feel confident in the mountains, in the hills, wherever you are, that you can find a route. And then you never know. These sort of races sound like just a sort of thing as well, like grab a friend, just give it a go. No one's going to judge you.
Can you gift it, Fran? Could someone buy a gift for you, a voucher?
Yes.
Oh, there you go, guys.
Vouchers are available.
Best of luck with it, Fran. Keep us posted. Feel free to pop any updates over on Facebook so that people can find you, and keep us posted with how it all goes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. It's been brilliant.
Thanks, Fran. Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Fran. And if you would like to gain some navigational skills, then reach out to Fran or head over to runlikeahaggis.com. I will pop a link in the show notes. Strava, James Cooper, 184 miles. I'm getting very familiar with those numbers because these are the guys and girls who run a marathon every day. It seems to round up to about 184 miles. So yeah, James, top of the charts for the mileage, and also James with just over 34 hours of exercise. And James is doing another epic marathon challenge, hoping to complete 366 marathons while raising money for Samaritans along the way. And you can follow James over on Instagram, and his handle is at smiling with 3 G's man. Yeah, pop over to Instagram and show him some love. Sophie Bennett, elevation 20,256 feet. Request to follow Sophie, so I can't share the dates, but yeah, but whatever you're up to. Kudos, and kudos to all our Strava Club members. So inspiring seeing you all show up day after day, week after week. Do you think Northern Traverse is going to get you on the charts? When's the start?
No,
is it going to straddle 2 weeks?
Saturday. Yeah.
God damn it.
Damn you. And I probably won't get the right trace anyway, will I? Trace? Is that French word? My watch will die, and I'll the spine was like 3 miles. Watch died. 8 miles. Can't be worrying about that when you're out racing, Gary. Can't be worrying about that.
Yeah.
Racing. Before I read this Tales from Trails, I have a Tales from the Trails myself. On my long run yesterday, last mile, I like to put the hammer down a bit, listening to some good 1990s disco classics. This man threw a pine cone for his dog to distract the dog off the path so he wasn't in my way. Yep. He missed through the pine cone and it hit me. And he shouted at me.
What?
I couldn't hear what he said because I had my music on so loud, but it was something along the lines of, don't look at me like that because I was just throwing it for my dog and you were in the way. And I was like, oh, it really hurt. If you had a pine cone hit you above the eye, I was like,
I'd be really apologetic if I threw a pine
Wouldn't you
cone
just
up
be like, I'm really sorry? And I would probably laugh it off going, I can't see out of that eye, but it's okay. The other one works. Don't worry about it. But he definitely was like, you were in the way. I was trying to get my dog out of the way for you. And I was like, oh my God.
Honestly, some people.
Some people. Anyway, let's hope this Tales from the Trail does not involve a pine cone and a blind eye. Hi, Eddie and Gary. I'm not sure if this is worthy of a Tales from the Trail shout out. Oh, it is. But I thought you'd both feel my pain and hopefully it will give you a giggle at my expense. Trying to squeeze that last long run in before Christmas, I ventured out to run a loop of Kilda Water in Northumberland, just over 24 miles. I do recommend it to anyone. It's beautiful, normally. I'd been in a bit of a funk, so wasn't in the best headspace to start. And on top of my negative state of mind, it rained constantly. It was blowing a gale. It was like the weather gods were inside my head, questioning my life choices on multiple occasions. I dragged my sorry, and by this point, extremely cold and sorry butt around the loop. Upon finishing, I grabbed my diary and headed to the loos to get changed. For God's sake, oh no, I forgot my dry leggings. Never mind, I thought, it's really quiet because the weather was so bad. I'd just change those in the back of the car. But this wasn't just any car. Oh no, it was my husband's sporty hatchback and rear space was limited. As I squeezed into the back seats and wiggled my sodden leggings down, this took quite a bit of effort. We know, we've all been there. The most horrendous calf cramp stuck. Man, it hurt. I was frozen in agony while I was wedged in the back of the car. Now grumpy and in pain, I didn't care and no one was around anyway. I just needed to get out and change by the car. To my dismay, I then realised child lock was on. I'd locked myself in the back of the car. Idiot life choices. Only one thing for it. Soggy leggings still halfway down and my cold red backside on full display. I started to clamber into the driver's seat, only for cramp to start again.
Oh my goodness.
I twisted and plonked my bare bum. I did have knife goes on, by the way, into the driver's seat. However, my legs were upright and still in the rear. I lay there massaging my calf. Oh, I'm waiting for the pain to pass, praying that no one had seen my beetles about moment. In the end, I managed to slither out of the driver's door and finally got into a pair of dry trousers. God, I laughed at myself and how I must have looked. But so glad no one saw this time. Kind regards, Melissa BT. Melissa, we've all been there. We've all been there. Getting changed in the car is a jeopardy, but it's one that's necessity. And often I just think, I don't care. You're going to see all these red raw flappy bits but I'm not going to sit in this car now and be cold.
Did you share a story once where you were getting changed in the car?
We don't need to revisit that story. But yesterday I had my dry stuff in a bag and a flask of tea because I knew I was then going to be driving around for an hour and a half picking up children, and this man pulled in a van because he wanted my car parking space and waited for me because he saw me get in the van, and I thought, do you know what? You're going to not only have to wait for me to get changed, but you're probably going to see stuff that you're going to go home and say, you'd never guess what, I saw something horrendous today.
That'll be another Tales from the Trails.
You can just wait, and I'm really sorry, but I'm not getting changed first. We've all been there, Melissa. Jeez. Also, it sounds like you need to work on your hydration. So why don't you book a call with Precision Fuel Hydration to help you work on that cramp?
I couldn't get my Dexel socks up on Saturday.
They're the worst. I have to sit down and then go into a yoga position to just start the ankle initiation and then get halfway and then take a little rest.
I had to get Aaron to take them off. I was like, Aaron, please.
So hard, aren't they? So hard. Such a diva. You're a little bit down. Do you want me to make you feel good?
Oh, yes, please, Edwina.
NY Wrong. We're reading the reviews. You've not flicked over into Late Night Podcast. Do you remember that? Do you remember Late Night Hollyoaks? It was traumatic.
I've never seen that ever.
Oh my God, you've not lived. Caps Lock, NY Run via Apple Podcasts, Great Britain, 2nd of 14th, 24. Oh, I've been meaning to leave a review for some time. What have you been doing? Busy? Having listened to Gary and Eddie since the beginning. Oh, I do recommend listening back to them on Run to the Hills podcast if you aren't aware of this. Gary, a little side note, I keep meaning to listen back to the first podcast. We've got to find it and play clips of it where I interviewed you and you were orcs. I was
please don't do that.
This is painful. Why do I have to do this show with this guy?
Nothing's changed.
I was like, hi, Gary. Hi. And you were like, hello.
I don't think it was that bad.
No, it wasn't that bad. I'm only joking. But I was thinking, I should listen to because that was the first time we'd met. We literally had hardly chatted and we were like, I should listen back. Who would know?
We don't need to do that.
Anyway, sorry. We go through it. Amusing, informative, and as Others have said it's like listening to old friends, great guests and a wealth of knowledge from the coaches in Brew with the Coaches. Very relatable and inspiring hosts. Once you've listened to one podcast, you'll soon be listening to the whole back catalogue. I'd also recommend to anyone that they sign up to Patreon. Good work. This is an excellent review. This is from you, Gary, to support the podcast as it's well worth a small contribution each month, and you even get a tea and trail snoot in return. Keep up the great work, Gary and Eddie. Many thanks. Oh, we've got a name. Nathan Young, Hardmore's runner. Oh, thanks. I love it when people actually put their names so we don't have to guess, but maybe some people like being anonymous.
Thanks, Nathan. Maybe I'll bump into you sometime on the moors. That'd be nice. Yeah, thanks for that. And got to echo what Nathan said. Patreon is worthwhile.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to leave a 5-star review. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. I love them. I love them. I think they're the favourite part of my podcast.
My podcast. Hey, listeners.
I was thinking, we're almost reading it to the wrong audience, because if they've got this far in the podcast, surely they like listening to it. And then we're just sort of like, maybe we should like put this out. Yeah. But anyway, I do love reading them because we live in denial that anyone actually listens. And so it's nice.
It's a treat.
It's a treat. We deserve a treat.
Competition. Our 2 Patreon big bobble hat winners are Matt Rendell and James Dowdle. I'll be in touch with you 2 guys. Yeah, well done. And thanks to all our Patreons too. We've got 2 new competitions. So first one is supported by Active Route. Legends, patrons and above can win one of their sports drinks tub and an Active Route snood. You don't need to do anything apart from being a paid up member of Patreon, Legend, tier and above, and we'll spin the Wheel of Fortune on Monday, the 4th of March. Also, if you are a lady and you would like to take part in... Lady. I never know what to say. Is someone a lady, a woman, or a female? What would you prefer?
I want you to say that again. And I want you to say also, if you're a lady...
If you're a lady and you would like to take part in She Ultra, which is in North Wales on Saturday, the 20th of April, 2024, you are in luck. Teen Trails podcast former guest and friend of the show, Hugh Williams, is offering a place to one lucky listener. All you need to do is be part of the Teen Trails Facebook group and share this week's podcast episode 60 post. We'll pop a post when we share the podcast and we'll pick a winner at random again. We'll spin the wheel on Monday, the 4th of March. But yeah, only enter this if you are a lady and you would actually plan to do it.
You also proof. Please send proof you're a lady. I'm drinking my tea with my little finger out at 4 o'clock. I'm a lady. Lady who drinks tea. Oh, that's lovely of you. I'm actually working with She Races and they have also done a competition and we are supporting 3 women who've never run an ultra before. And awesome. So it sounds like a great event to if you are new to trails or if you just like trail running and you don't want to be behind sweaty men going out the way, and then who then are walking 2 miles later. We can just all get down there, burn our bras together and be ladies together. If you're thinking, oh, that's quite close, I haven't got enough time to train, there's no cut-offs. So you can literally walk it if you wanted to as well. So don't feel put off that it is 50k. We can do it, guys.
I'll pop a link in the show notes, actually, so you can check out all the deets for She Ultra. I'm just looking at what's coming up, Eddie. You were going to freestyle this.
Well, what are we talking about this week? Because, my God, I'm not going to share this terrible week on... Well,
we've got to pretend like we haven't actually done the stuff that we're going to say that we're going to do.
Okay, I get you. So this week is terrible. There's no joy. I am on my own. I am basically, I have to get up at 6 o'clock every morning and I spend 2 hours, Gary, just doing laundry, washing, getting ski kit ready, warming ski boots, getting the snacks ready, doing the breakfast, doing the dog. Wow. But I need kudos just for, I could Strava just my morning activity. I do between 30 to 40,000 steps a day in these days when I'm single parenting, just looking after the kids and carrying skis around and stuff. And I don't get any joy out of it, Gary, because I don't actually get to ski because all I do is drive around. I find that really hard.
Do you have any time for yourself? Like, I'll procrastinate.
That's why I can't. I like Instagram. It has to go because I literally, and that because the kids are so tired, they will go to bed at like 8:30, and they'll be asleep. And so then I have that hour, but I have to go to bed because then I have to. I'm like, I can't stay up, and that's the only. And so then I work obviously in the evenings, and then I'm like half an hour. The back catalogue of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, because I'm like, what can I watch that is truly awful that Bryn will never want to watch? And as he's not here, I am whining because you whine about your training. I whine about the fact that life is so busy, but I'd much prefer it that my kids were like these bionic sporting machines and out the house, and when they come back they just lie down, don't make much noise. And then, you know, us, we're so fortunate that they get to do what they do. There's a lot going on, Gary, but we'll get it done. This week will be quite a little bit quieter. I'm going to do one session. I'm going to do a medium long run, not a mega long run, because the week after we're going big, we're going massive. We're going raving in the lakes together. And I already feel I'm going to be the rear sweeper. And so I don't want to be the rear sweeper that is,
don't worry, Eddie,
tired legs already.
I'll support you.
Yeah, I know what you'll do. You will run up and then you'll be. I used to train with a guy called Paul Navesey when I was vast, and he used to run up every climb and then spend the whole way at the top and then just video or photo me, and then just.
Did he turn around, hand on hips?
Yep, social media bomb me with like, here she comes.
That's not me.
And I used to be like, oh God, you took that picture because you've been sitting there. So long. Anyway, so next week by default is going to be a little bit more busy, but coming in. And do you know what I do? I just go in that mindset, Gary. I try and go my ultra running mindset. Don't think, just do. Because I like okay, I've got 2 hours. This is going to be my long run. Oh my God, I've got so much to do. Don't think about anything else you have to do. This is I look on it as like work. This is your work. Get it done. Don't think about tiredness. Don't think about the fact that everything you've got to do afterwards. Totally focus on that unit of time on what you're doing. And I try and do that for all the bits I'm doing. Right. You're making chicken nuggets. Focus. Make those chicken nuggets as best as you can. I tell you what else, this is the last thing, is feeding these children I need a full time. I literally cannot feed them enough food because they all ski 3 hours a day, 3 to 4 hours a day. The older one skis for 6 to 8 hours a day. Then some of them are going on to do like ice skating or football for like another 90 minutes. Overtraining.
Those calories,
those calories
fuel the furnace.
Are fueling. Just normal kids eat a lot, don't they? And then you've got teenage boys that eat even more. And then you're adding in probably like 3,000 calories worth of energy. A day. Oh my God, the food. Every day I go to Carrefour and literally give them €200 for nothing for a bag of Carrefour shopping. It makes me sad. And then it gets to the end of the day, and do you know what I have? 2 pieces of toast and a bowl of yogurt. I find when I'm single parenting and I'm tired, I just want a tray. I make a little tray at the end of the day with my Keeping Up with the Kardashians episode, and I have peanut butter on toast and a bowl of yogurt with some nice crunchy nuts on and a cup of tea and a.
Are you doing anything blend?
I'm not. The kids are. I'm not going to share it because it's very. I think people would judge. They're doing something. Share it. They're doing something really cool, but it's another unit of time that I have to provide.
Okay.
I was thinking like I was going to give up. Like I love nuts. I was going to give up nuts. I was going to give up tea. I was going to give up toast.
You said I'm going to give up love nuts.
Love nuts. Oh, I gave those up a long time ago. No one's birthday in Lent, Gary. I don't know. This is my life at the moment. I was like, oh, it's Lent. I've forgotten. Anyway, what about you, my little friend? My little goblet of
love nuts. If this podcast hasn't gone out on Friday, apologies, but we've had broadband issues in the Thwaites household. I think a local third-party provider severed the cable for our provider, so that's why a lot of people.
Do you think it was a rival podcast because they saw we were number 2 on the running chart, and they were like,
maybe, yeah.
Get on to. Do you know we're like number 80 in the we were number 56 in the all-time sports podcasts.
Get out of town. No way.
As Lindy keeps saying, my eye. My eye.
That is wild.
That's wild. We're up there with some pretty terrible football podcasts.
There's a lot of football podcasts out there. Quite frustrating. We are recording this on Thursday, and yeah, so it's made the podcast a challenge to get out on time. So it might be Saturdays. Apology for that. But what has been lovely, we've had family time. Everybody normally just kind of goes to their bedrooms, faces in their respective devices. But no, we've sat and watched a DVD together. What
did you watch?
Oh, Interstellar. It's pretty heavy, to be fair.
We watched Jumanji. That's our level we're at. If you want to, I've never watched it. Oh my God. Something for everybody.
Kevin Hart and The Rock. Classic.
Oh, I love it. If I could get hold of his biceps.
Get hold of his rock.
Get hold of his love nuts. I would do stuff.
I do like The Rock. Wow, he's a good guy. He's good. I hope he is a good guy. You know, sometimes.
Oh, I think he's a good guy. No. Don't go down that hole. Don't go down that hole. He's a good guy.
Now that the children know what it's like to not have internet, if they're being a bit naughty, I can threaten them with turning off the data in the house.
I can't imagine your kids being naughty, Gary.
Oh my goodness me. I've got 2 teenagers. Very, very naughty at times. So yeah, we've got some some power as a parent, something I've never possessed in about 17 years. So that's quite entertaining. But yeah, as far as training is concerned, more of the same. Looking at the plan, yeah, you can give me some advice here, Eddie.
Oh,
I will actually listen to it. So
okay,
this is where we are now in the specific marathon phase. The long runs have some marathon effort towards the end for the next 3 or 4 weeks. So it's 2 hours easy, just under 2 hours, 1 hour. 50 minutes easy, and then 40 minutes at marathon pace. Because I want to be hydrated and have energy, it's quite hard. I don't want to run with a hydration vest on. So I might do the 2 hours easy just on the roads and trails where I live, but then aim to go to the gym for that 40 minutes, which I can then jump on the treadmill and do that at the marathon effort. But I can have drinks and gels and stuff like that there, just so I can keep that section of the run controlled. Or do you think ignore the pace, do it at the effort, and the trails and the roads will determine the pace?
Firstly, I would criticise this session going, especially with how you're feeling and how the training is going. I would put those marathon blocks. I wouldn't do them on tired legs. I don't see the point of that. You're not new to tired legs. You don't need to practice.
I've heard this quite a few times, actually.
You don't need to practice running on tired legs. That's your forte, Gary. You want a confidence in these sessions. So firstly, I would put those marathon pace sessions after half an hour, probably. Let the body warm up, and then I put them in. I wouldn't do 40 minutes as well. I would break that down and do 15 minutes, and then allow yourself to refuel and take a moment in between each one, because I think 40 minutes, especially, I don't think you've done this yet. Have you done marathon paced long run?
Not at the end of a long run, not as part of a long run. I've done a steady run.
I would say I would do it. I would break it up 15 minutes or 20 minutes and do it within the session rather than doing it at the end. I think you don't need to do it on tired legs. Also, I think it's the risk of injury, and also running when you are dehydrated and tired, perhaps after 2 hours. I can't see the benefits of that. So choose a route at home and just wear a hydration vest and fuel throughout it.
If I'm going to do this, interesting. If I'm going to do, say, maybe 15-minute chunks, I maybe could find, say, a 5-mile loop, so I could always come back.
I often say loop is good. So you could do half an hour on the trails with Rex, drop Rex home, then do your loop, and then work it out like that, sort of make it fit with you. But I would say I would do it within the session. Make yourself feel good about that session, not, holy cow, this is really hard. And I wouldn't go on the treadmill. I would do it on the road, because it's better for your legs as well. It's better for your legs. Harden those legs off to that concrete now. Start thinking about specificity.
40 minutes, but broken up over.
Yeah, broken up. And I think you probably if you break it up, you could probably do 3 lots of 15.
Yes. Or if you feel like you just don't want to do the 2:15 and 1:10.
2:20s, 1:10. There's no if you want the longer blocks. Or you could do 20, 15, 10.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But that's why if I was looking at you as a specific person and being we want you to come out of that going, it was hard, but I felt good. I think if you run for 2 hours, when you've already got a massive volume in your leg from the week, and also your history, this is when being specific as a person rather than...
I've never, even when I've had real good race day performances, I've never nailed the marathon efforts.
No, they're really hard. They're really hard. And I often, if I've got people doing marathons, I have to be really strong as a coach going, I promise you'll feel okay on race day. You'll feel okay. This feels hard now. it will come, and it does always come, but these are hard sessions. So that's why I think don't make it harder by depleting your already depleted body.
Yes,
Give yourself.
I need to find a location, so loops, and somewhere maybe either back to home, or I can stash some gels and water.
Danny love nuts.
Interesting. Danny love nuts. Yeah. And also, fingers crossed, I'm struggling to do that. 2 sessions in the gym.
Non-negotiable.
Oh, yeah, I really need to channel some of my inner Lucy. 3 weeks left of proper training for Manchester before we hit the taper. Maybe 4 if I got my maths wrong, or 3.5. So it's probably too late for Manchester Marathon. Maybe looking more at the Lake 100, another show in the bank. And if you're still running, kudos. Wow, you guys are doing awesome. Think of the strength you are building. Make sure you dig into that fuel and drink now, and don't leave it until you get home. That's what I'll be practicing. We all know what happens the minute you get through the door. And thanks to Precision Fuel and Hydration for sponsoring this week's show. Use the code T24 for 15% off your first order. Thanks to our partners and patrons too. Yeah, we couldn't do this without your ongoing support. Be kind to future self. Breathe and believe. Progress, not perfection. And yeah, keep that shield high. And don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and give us a share.
Whatever you're doing right now, just keep on going. Blinkers on. Don't think. Just do. Love seeing all your pictures on Facebook. I'm finding the world wee pictures. I'm worried about people's hygiene right now, because people are weeing and then touching their
Through with a
phones.
view, wild wee. I love it.
Gary loves it. Should we just have a little bit of hand sanitizer, guys? Let's just keep ourselves brushing.
Anything goes on the trails.
Anything goes on the trail. Keep listening to the podcast. Warm yourself up with a brew if you're just finishing running. Oh my God, I'm going to have the biggest cup of tea in about 5 minutes. Here we go. My name is Eddie Sutton.
And I'm Gary Thwaites.
And that, at last, was episode 60 of the Tea and Trails podcast.